Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley or Delta Boy 767 if you're on my YouTube channel. So, as you know, most of you who subscribe to my channel, I do a lot of variety things on here, mainly fragrance reviews. Here lately, I have been getting somewhat political because of the situation that's going on, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to review two fragrances. One of them's a classic, and the other one is not so much a classic. It can be considered a classic because the person who designed it or came up with the idea of it is now passed away, God rest her soul. But the first one's a classic, and I'm going to start off with the very first one that was released in 1986, and it's by the design house of Calvin Klein, and it's Obsession for Men. And this is in the this is the three. Let me get my old eyes here to see this. Hang on a second, y'all. That's what happens when you get old and you got to get bifocals. Okay, so this is a 3.3 ounce eau de toilette. So it's a 100 ml bottle. This fragrance it's classified as an oriental. I would classify it more as like a spicy oriental. Now, the original Obsession, when it first came out in 1986, was very powerful and very potent and extremely long lasting. This stuff, as always, as all the perfumes and fragrances and stuff, it has been reformulated, unfortunately, thanks to regulations and all this bullshit and stuff of ingredients that you can no longer use anymore because allergic reactions. How that happens, I don't know, but anyway, I'm not a doctor, so I just say if it's something that causes an allergic reaction, stick a damn label on it. Sorry about that. Stick a label on it. Buy it at your own risk. But don't force me to buy a fragrance that's watered down, or I should say cheapened, because if I'm going to pay $70, $80 for a bottle of cologne, then damn it, I want it to smell good, not watered down. Anyway, back to the cologne. It's a woody oriental. It smells really good, actually. So the top notes in this are mandarin and bergamot. The heart is lavender, myrrh, sage, clove, nutmeg, and coriander. And yes, I've got my notes here, so don't judge me. The base in this is amber, musk, sandalwood, vetiver, and patchouli. When you first spray this on, which I'm going to spray it on right now, I'm going to spray it on my hand. When you first spray it, you can sort of smell the orange and the bergamot because the mandarin in it is a citrus. Bergamot is also in the citrus family, but it fades quickly. So those top notes, they last maybe a good 5-10 minutes. Then the heart starts coming in, and what I like to do is when I spray it on my hand, I like to warm it up. Just blow on it, and it warms up the fragrance, and it smells really good. It's a compliment getter. I will say this. It's not as strong as the original version, of course it's not, because it's been reformulated and all that. But it still projects. It's still got a good projection, and it's a ciliage monster as well, too. It's got good ciliage. Projection, it used to be a projection beast, like a lot of 80s colognes and perfumes were from the 80s, very loud and bold. They've toned it down due to the reformulations, but besides the point, it still smells amazing. For a men's cologne, Obsession smells really good. Now, I've never smelled the women's version of Obsession. I've heard that it's more like, they say it's got the same kind of scent as Opium from Yves Saint Laurent, if that makes any sense. But as far as I know, I've never smelled Obsession by Calvin Klein for women. I've only smelled the men's version. So, but lasting power on this, I would say, is a good 8 to 10 hours. if you layer it. And what I mean by layer it is what I do is when I come out of the shower and I've, showered and everything, I'll spray a couple sprays here on each side, one behind my back, on back of my neck. And then I pull down my shirt and spray 2, 3 sprays on my chest, because when your body warms up the fragrance, you can smell it and it comes wafting up to you. And it's really a gorgeous, it's a gorgeous scent. It's kind of hard to describe and to put a description to it. If I had to describe this scent, I would say it kind of reminds me of it reminds me of like like beginning of spring, and you're outside and you smell all the stuff that's blooming and blossoming in the spring. You know that fragrance that I'm talking about. Well, this is kind of very woodsy. It's like you're out in the forest somewhere. Not green, but woodsy. It's because of the sandal and the patchouli and the vetiver and all that stuff. It makes it rich, and it's kind of got that rich creaminess that I like about it. So it to me, Obsession's an Oriental for men. And I love my Oriental scents. I love my Oriental fragrances because they have a lot of structure, and a lot of uniqueness goes into an Oriental fragrance. Sorry, I'm losing words today. So that's Obsession by Calvin Klein, which was released in 1986. I'm not sure who the perfumer is because I couldn't find that information, but whomever he is, he made a masterpiece with Obsession, because first there was Obsession for Women that came out. And then he took that and made a men's fragrance, and it became an instant success. And I remember the commercials back in the day too, Obsession by Calvin Klein. And it was typical 80s commercial, with a man coming out of the water and all that stuff. And this woman, she embraces him and all that stuff, like he's doused himself in Obsession cologne when he just come out of the water. So it's kind of a cheesy commercial from the 80s, but still, it got the point across that it's a good fragrance. And it is. So that's Obsession by Calvin Klein, released in 1986. And I'm going to go over the notes with you one more time. The top notes are mandarin and bergamot, which you can smell when you first spray it, the mandarin, because it's a citrusy, but it evaporates quickly. The heart notes are lavender, myrrh, sage, clove, nutmeg, and coriander. And then the base is amber, musk, sandalwood, vetiver, and patchouli. And that's where you're getting that Oriental from the sandalwood and patchouli. It smells really good. Okay, on to the next one. Now, this fragrance was released in 2003. And you know Elizabeth Taylor with her famous fragrance, White Diamonds. And that commercial when she goes and hands the diamonds to this man and says, "These have always brought me luck." One of Elizabeth Taylor's most famous fragrances was White Diamonds, which I also have, and it smells amazing. This is called Gardenia by Elizabeth Taylor, and this is in the 3.3 fluid ounces eau de parfum spray, which is 100 milliliters. And it comes in a really interesting bottle. It looks like a coffin with a wannabe gardenia cap on it. Now, this scent is clearly floral. There's no Oriental to it at all. This is strictly a floral fragrance. And I'm going to try to spray it somewhere where I have not sprayed fragrance on so that I can tell you my opinion of it, because I've got like 3 or 4 different ones on. So I'm going to have to spray it somewhere. So let's do this. 1, 2, and 3. Right off the top, you can tell it's a very, very, very floral fragrance. You've got to wear this in the summertime. This is best worn in the summer, not in the winter. Top notes in this are green leaves, whatever they are, and lily of the valley. The middle notes is gardenia, of course, peony and orchid. And the base notes is musk, carnation, and sandalwood. I don't smell the sandalwood in this. I don't smell it at all. I do smell the carnation when it dries down and it becomes nice and creamy and rich, which most florals, once they dry down, and if they've got any kind of carnation or iris root or orris or whatever, that gives off that creamy, powdery, luscious scent, if you know what I'm saying. So this is Gardenia, and it was released in 2003. I'm not sure who the perfumer is on this either because it didn't tell me. I'm sure whoever it is was very close to Elizabeth Taylor because she loved her fragrances. But this is a kind of a niche fragrance from Elizabeth Taylor. It's hard to find. You won't find it like a Macy's or Belk's or Dillard's or whatever. Like, you might get this on Fragrantica or Fragrance Net or places like that. It does smell really good though. It's kind of reminds me of like a bath soap, like a clean, fresh bath scent, like a fresh linen. There used to be a candle from Yankee Candles years ago. It was called Fresh Linen, and it kind of smells a little bit like this does, like gardenia. Yeah. So that's Elizabeth Taylor's Gardenia, released in 2003. So leave me comments below if you have either one of these fragrances. Of course, Gardenia is for women and Obsession is for men. Now, y'all know my opinion. Fragrance has no gender. I don't care what anybody says. Fragrance has no gender, because you can take vetiver and bergamot, sandalwood, patchouli, and put them in and make it a men's fragrance or a women's fragrance. So fragrance has no gender. It's all marketing. It's all a marketing thing about women's perfume and men's cologne and all that stuff. It's all marketing. But fragrance has no gender, period. Never has. Because I will wear a women's perfume quicker than you can blink. And I'll also wear a men's cologne too. So, but yes, leave me a comments below. Let me know if you have Obsession or Gardenia by Elizabeth Taylor and what your thoughts are on it. And those of you who do have Obsession, if you've noticed the reformulation in it, if you've noticed the intensity is not there like it used to be, leave that in the comments, because I want to know your opinion on it. Because I remember Obsession being more intense than what it is now. And it's crazy to say, but I came across a knockoff at Family Dollar, of all places. And it was the knockoff, their version of Obsession. It smelled closer to the original Obsession than this one does. For some reason. It was weird. I was like, that's crazy. For $5.99 versus $49.99. But I don't know the lasting power or the staying power, because I didn't purchase it. I just basically smelled it out of the box, took it out of the box, sprayed a little bit of it, and it smelled a little bit like the original, but I don't know how the lasting power of it is, because I didn't buy it. So, but yes, leave me in the comments below if you have either one of these fragrances, and if you've noticed the change in Obsession from Calvin Klein, because I'd like to know, because I'm not the only one who's noticed it too. So that's it for today, guys. Be blessed and always smell amazing.